Welcome to the Ghost Geeks. I'm Chad, and today we bring you the final part in our three-part series on geophones. And now for the geek dive. In this final installation on geophones, we are going to discuss a pitfall of using geophones for the paranormal, how accelerometers may be a better option, and how we can design new gear based on these principles. In the first video in this series, we discussed how a geophone operates. Let's think about how the function of a geophone could be a pitfall in its use in the paranormal field. If you said it's because the geophone works on electromagnetic fields, give yourself 100 points. Since the geophone relies on a coil wrapped around the magnetic core to induce a voltage, any interfering electromagnetic field could potentially cause a false reading on the geophone. This would mean that the geophone would be acting more like a REM pod than a vibration detector. So, what are some ways a geophone overcomes EMF interference? Well, for starters, the processing power of the geophone's internal circuitry is one way. Advanced signal processing algorithms such as noise filtering, deconvolution, and spectral analysis can mitigate external interference and enhance signal clarity. These techniques help extract meaningful seismic data from the noisy recordings, improving the overall quality of the interpretation. But there are inherently some other sources of interference that we need to be aware of when using geophones. The biggest source of interference is actually the environment itself. Traffic, construction, and other industrial activities can be detected by a geophone. Knowing when these activities take place can greatly limit the misdiagnosis of data as paranormal. So, how could we be alerted to false positives? Well, the two best answers are to use an accelerometer in parallel on the device, and to use multiple devices as an array. Since accelerometers do not rely on an electromagnetic field to detect vibration or motion, the accelerometer would not be affected by transient electromagnetic waves. Designing devices with dual systems like this gives the investigator a method to determine in which way the device has detected the triggering event. Additionally, the use of an array of geophones not only allows for localized data points, but for transversing data points between devices and the reduction and isolation of interference. If all the geophones go off at the same time, either a large-scale seismic event has occurred like an earthquake, car crash nearby, etc., or a rogue EMF source has tampered with the array. Our investigations will rarely, if ever, see paranormal activity on a scale that could activate an array of geophones all with the same intensity and the same time. Thus, we can exclude such results as interference. As an investigator, we must be cautious with geophones, just like any paranormal device, to keep bias out of the data. We should always cross-reference geophone data to USGA data and eliminate anything that synchronizes to a known seismic event. We should also take care to use audio recording devices near geophones, not only to hear potential evidence, but to also account for possible environmental contaminations. We also need more transparency in our methodology. Maintaining transparency in experimental methodology and data analysis procedures is essential for credibility and accountability in paranormal investigations. Documenting all aspects of the investigation, including equipment setup, environmental conditions, and data processing techniques, facilitates peer review and scrutiny. Geophones offer a unique perspective into paranormal investigations, allowing researchers to explore potential correlations between seismic activity and unexplained phenomena. However, the use of geophones in this context requires careful consideration of the inherent pitfalls and challenges, including environmental interference, subjective interpretation, and ethical implications. By adopting rigorous scientific methods, collaborating with experts, and maintaining transparency, investigators can navigate these challenges and contribute to a more evidence-based understanding of paranormal phenomena. I hope you enjoyed this three-part series on geophones. Until next time, I'm Chad with the Ghost Geeks, and remember, talk nerdy to me.